So welcome back to tutorial 31 of the C8 Corvette surface design as in Solidworks. Okay, so let's go over a few things that we did in the last tutorial. We've been working on these surfaces here, and then in this tutorial we're gonna start doing some detailing on this top part here, and then hopefully we can do as much as we can and as much as possible. So let's bring up some pictures here, and then let's see what we got. All right, so we're gonna have to add this surface here, and we need to make an additional split line or projected sketches on these surfaces here, so that we can create these air vents here. Obviously this one here is a 3D extruded surface bracket, and then these triangular shapes will jump into these between these brackets, and then there's a mesh kind of surface underneath that. And then of course this one here is just a very simple surface here. Okay, so if we are jump into our model here, the first thing I want to do is I want to connect these two corners here. So I'm going to grab a 3D sketch and a 3D spline, and I'm just going to connect these two corners together here. And I want to add tangency from this face and this end, and of course from this face and this end here. And then I want to exit this sketch. I'm going to jump into fill surface and select these edges here. Well, yes, we did cut these out before, but maybe I shouldn't have done that. We could just delete that cut path. Instead, we're going to do it this way. However, if you want to delete that trimmed surface for yourself, you can do it. I'm going to do it this way for now. All right. Okay, so once we have that place filled in there, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring up our first display state here, and then just gonna look it up from we're just gonna look at it from the top. And then let me just check if we are recording. We are recording. All right, so we need to add this additional surface here, and then so that we can trim out that we have that small area there. Okay, so let's jump back to second display state here, and then I'm going to jump to surfaces, and I'm going to extrude this surface here. I'm going to extrude it about that much maybe, and I'm going to use linear instead of same surface, but really linear is better. So press OK, and this is one fluid surface now. All right, so let's jump back to the first display state here, and I'm going to add our glass. So let's add a clear glass onto the whole car here. I want to be able to click those glass surfaces as well. All right, so this is what we're going to trim out first. We're going to trim out this section here. So let's make a sketch on the top plane here, and I'm going to grab a spline, and I'm gonna go from this inside corner here up to about this point here. Make it nice and round, and of course I'm going to jump in here and then grab the handlebar, and I'm going to make that vertical, right? And then press OK. And then let's try and mirror the entities. Entities to mirror is going to be this sketch here that we just made, and mirror about, let's see if we can choose the plane itself. Yes, we can. And then now we have that nice fluid curvature there, and then we just jump into surface here, trim that surfaces on the outside, and we have the inside left here. Okay, so press OK. So now we trim the surface, so now we have that surface there fluidly going all the way through down. All right, so let's jump back into our first display state here, and then click on the top plane so it brings that section up. So as we can see, basically the glass is going all the way out here and comes down with the cut here, and then that glass is not a see-through glass, but from this point, basically from this point to this point, it's the vent on this side, and then so is inside here, that's just dark glass. It's a plastic behind this glass, so the only glass area obviously is this area here, but we do need to split these lines. I mean, possibly, yes, split the lines curvature on this face so we can delete or add, so just that we can see those lines on our model here. All right, okay, so let's jump back into top plane here, make a sketch on top plane, and then I'm going to grab a line, and then I want to see this section here. So I want to draw up on this section here all the way up on this line, but there's two lines here, so I don't want to make the curved line. I want to get the straight one here, obviously. So I'm going to come up all the way up to here, and then I'm going to grab another line here and just come up to this point. Maybe not all the way to that, but let's see what we can do if we bring it over here, and maybe if we move that line somewhere here. Okay, and then grab another line, and then we go from that point to this point here, and then we grab another line, and we go from that point all the way down to that point, to this point here. Okay, and then obviously another line that goes from here to here, and we are almost perpendicular with that line, so we're just gonna go to that point there. Okay, and from this point obviously we can adjust these lines here. Okay, so pull that down about here, and this line about here, and you can just grab these points and then pull these lines whichever way you like that. So maybe let's pull this one up a little bit, just so that we are somewhat same thickness all the way throughout, and that looks good to me. And I'm going to grab another line, and I'm gonna come to this point here, and then just connect this line here. Okay, I'm going to snip that one off, and I'm not going to add any fillets on any of these corners yet. It's just going to be much easier for us, and to me it looks pretty straight. All right, okay, so let's jump into mirror entities, and let's mirror this whole thing, this whole sketches, and let's mirror it about the this plane here, and it dropped it over, which is good. And let's jump back over to our second display state, and then let's go ahead and do a split line here, and hopefully SolidWorks will let us do it. So let's select all the faces that we want to split. So select all these faces and then press OK, and let's see what we get. Okay, we're doing good. So now these surfaces are split indeed. All right, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this gray appearance. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to copy it onto these splitted surfaces. So copy and paste onto these surfaces here, so we can see these surfaces. So paste, and then paste here, and then paste on this one. Paste on that face, and it comes all the way down like that. Okay, so let's jump back here. Let me jump into our picture here, and then we have that cut that comes down and all the way throughout, and then this is our split line that goes around here. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create this surface here that we have, and then let's do that quickly. It's going to end up on this surface here. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is jump into the top plane here, and then just click the top plane, normal to profile. And because we can see the glass, we can see what that surface looks like. Let SolidWorks do what it needs to do right now. Looks like it's doing something. Don't freeze on me. I'm gonna wait for it to do it. Continue, ignore error. I must have clicked something that I shouldn't. Let it do its thing. Okay, maybe I deleted something by accident. So let's jump back in here and have a look. And let's do a Control Z. Well, I'm doing a Control Z. You probably didn't press anything by accident like me. So I'll see you back when I clear that. All right, so I accidentally hit the whole car, and that caused me a little bit of issue there. Bring it back now. All right, so where we were putting these appearances on these splitted lines on these surfaces here. So paste onto these surfaces, and then on these surfaces here. And maybe we can end this one as well. So just the face. So just so that we can see our where we're going to create our detailings and everything. All right. So let's get on to creating that small surface here. This one. Let's zoom in. So obviously it's just going to be a triangle on that surface there. Okay. So to get that done, we're going to jump back into the first display state here, and I'm just going to click top plane. And then I'm going to add a 3D point first, a 3D sketch, and then 3D point. And with that, it drops it right onto the surface where we need that point. Okay, so obviously it's gonna start somewhere here in this area, and then we will mirror some surfaces over. So let's start it somewhere in this area here, and then the next point will be somewhere out here. Let's just, yes, because that will go into this corner here, and then that will come out to this point here. Okay, so let's grab a spline, and let's draw that spline. Let's snip that spline onto that point. Okay, and then we want to be on the Y and X plane, and then let's just drop it somewhere here, nice and big like that, and then press spacebar to come in from the side, and then we can just grab that line and bring it straight. So that's that shadow here, it's showing that surface for us. So just to point out, this blueprint that we're using, I won't be changing it now, but in the next tutorials and the next projects that we're working on, we will be using very high definition blueprints, and things are going to get a lot better and a lot easier and a lot more precise, of course. But of course, we are learning together on this one. So let's see this line here. That's good. We're not going to add any relationship to this line, but it's going to stand somewhere straight out here. And then let's just check from the top that we are at the right size on this line here. Okay, so that's our line here, and then this don't need any curvature yet. And then it's already standing where it needs to stand, so that line is good as it is. And then I'm going to press OK, and I'm going to look at the picture here for a second and see, right, so that point that we're looking for, that point is starting somewhere almost at the edge, right, and comes in. All right, so let's grab that 3D point, and then let's drop it somewhere here, and then it will come out. But if I drop it here and mirror over, it's gonna come to that point in there, obviously. So let's drop it maybe here, and maybe we can adjust later. So let's jump at that point there, and then let's jump into our second display state, so now that we can see. And then I'm going to grab a line, and I'm going to get from this point and connect it to that one. Of course, press exit, and we are on the surface, so that's good. And I'm just going to grab a spline and then connect this point with this point here. Exit the sketch, and then we're just going to do a small fill surface on this surface here. Press OK. Okay, so that's almost looking good. All right, so let's jump into a feature tree here, and then front plane, and we want to make a sketch on that front plane, and normal to profile. And I want to convert this edge here convert that edge, and then maybe I want to convert this edge as well. Okay, and then I want to have a look, and then we're going to connect these lines together. Exit the sketch, and let's do a boundary surface on the line. So let's select Show Manager, and then select that line, press OK, and then select this edge and press OK. Okay, and then let's mirror this over. Features, mirror, and for mirror face plane, let's choose the front plane, and then always bodies to mirror. Not always, but most of the time. Press OK. And then we have the surface. However, I think this should be, and no, actually could be a little bit more of an angle. So let's go edit that. So to do that, I want to grab on to that point. So edit that sketch, and press spacebar, jump to the top. I want to grab onto this point, and I want to pull this point a little bit out, so that now we can see as we editing the surface in real time. Okay, so we can add as much curvature, I mean angle as we want, and that's the angle that we are looking for on that surface. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's go to surfaces here, and then let's connect these surfaces together. And press OK. So that's now one surface. All right. And then let's have a look at the picture. Let me see how much time. Yes, let's have a look at the picture. And that's, we are spot on with that curvature. I mean that surface there. So if we zoom in, I think it's a camera. It's a reverse camera, right? That's what it is. It's a reverse camera. So it seems like this reverse camera has a surface coming down straight from this surface here, and then a car extrude. So let's create that. Okay, so let's go to mm, 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 mm. let's go to the top plane here. Let's go to the top plane. Top plane, make a sketch on the top plane. Actually, instead, no, we are making sketch on the top plane. So sketch on the top plane, and then we want to convert these edges here. Press OK. And now we want to, because this line is now on the top plane, we want to project this curve onto this surface here. So let's do a exit the sketch. Let's do a projected curve, and we want to sketch on the face. So let's select this line that we just converted, and let's select this face here. And of course, we want to make sure that the arrow is pointing upwards, which it is. So, and it's a sketch on face, and then press OK. So now we have that. Now we have that line there that we needed. Okay, so one more thing we need to do is we need to make this line longer, or instead let's make it a little bit easier. So let's go to boundary surface and go to selection manager. Let's select these projected lines, press OK, and then again selection manager, and let's select these edges here, press OK. And we need to flip these connectors, flip the connectors, and then press OK. And you probably are guessing what I'm going to do here. So let's go to extend surface, and let's go and extend this one here. All right, and then press OK. And then we have an extended surface in that direction. Good. And then let's go extend the surface and extend this one in this way, and press OK. All right, and we should be able to trim with the surface itself. So let's go to trim surface, and then clear the selection. And the trim tool is going to be this whole body that we just made, and we're going to remove these outside small pieces here. Press OK on that. All right, good. So now we have that flat surface in there where we needed it. And then, of course, we need to cut a small circle on that. So make a sketch on that face. Flip that around from the back. And then we're just going to make a circle somewhere in the middle. Something like that. bring that somewhere in the middle. Okay, and then instead of cutting that out, actually I have a better idea. Let's do another sketch. So let's go and edit this sketch, and let's do another sketch, and let's make that about this much, and let's go and extrude this whole sketch here. And let's, instead of 1, let's do 0.5, 0.5 here. Press OK. All right, and now we have the reverse camera. So that looks good. All right, so let's get on to. So it's going to be a lot of small detailing. We still need to cut some joints between these lines here, just like on the real one. All right, so there's one more thing I want to do actually here. Is I want to go to surfaces here and do a field surface about, or we can, let's do it this way. Okay, so make a sketch, another sketch on this face, normal to profile, and let's do another circle. So hold on the edge and it will gives you the reference number of that. Like the first one, second one, the first one, and the second one is out there. So let's turn on the edges so we can see actually that one. Grab that circle again, so now we can see where we are. And I'm just gonna bring this out to about here, and I'm going to do an extrude, and let's make it a bit more complex. All right, so extrude that. All right, and then I'm gonna go to dome, if we can find that command, surfaces. Let's go to tools, and let's go to insert features, and let's go to dome, and we want to dome this face here. Now that's a big giant circle, so let's try 3, or let's say 0.5, and let's see our dome now. All right, so it's almost good. Let's try 0.2, and that's even better. That's okay. All right, and then let's turn this into a glass. Of course, textured thick glass. And then we want some nice green colored glass on this dome. All right, so now we have a nice reverse camera set into that. Okay, good. Let's get into some other detailings here. Right, so let's get on and work on the vents, on the side vents here. So to do that, let's jump over to our first display state. And I just want to point out, if you're just tuning into my channel, then I would highly appreciate if you press the subscribe button on the bottom of the YouTube page. It helps me a lot to motivate me to create more videos like this, and to create step-by-step work with the models, of course. So thank you for that. And follow my step-by-step tutorials, as I'm doing mostly complex surfaces. I'm doing more and more complex surfaces after this one. And you know, just to let you know that surfacing in CAD design is all above everything else. So if you get good at surfacing, everything else just falls into place like naturally. So it's a good idea that you become a good surfacing designer here. All right, so enough of that. Let's get on to these vents here. So we have two of these triangle shapes here, obviously. So we need to cut out this area here and create the bracket. So let's do let's do a sketch on the top plane, and let's go and convert this face here, and let's offset it. Of course, we want to offset the reverse, and let's try 1. And that's, if we do 1, it's going to be a very thick bracket. So let's try 0.5. And 0.5 looks good to me. And of course, we want to trim out the outside here. All right, I had a phone call. All right, so let's go to trim, and then let's trim out these outside lines here. We only want the inside. And let's try not to cut the inside one, because then we would have to do it again. So let me try to make sure that I'm only cutting the outside lines. And it looks like we trimmed all the outside lines here. That's good. And press OK. And let me do a center line. So I prefer center lines. Create center lines for mirroring things over instead of using the plane. And don't ask me why, it's just my preference. So I'm going to select all these here, and I'm going to mirror it over the center line. And we mirror it over with our bracket in the 0. Was it 0 0.1? 0 0.5? Yeah, it was 0 0.5. So press OK. And we have all the inside lines, right? So let me jump into the second display state here. And I'm going to trim, and it automatically selected, because that was still highlighted, it selected the sketches. And then we're going to remove these inside surfaces here. That's good. All right, so also just to point out, if you to just getting first time you're looking at my work in SolidWorks, and then you don't have any CAD experience and you want to get into SolidWorks, if you want to just do surfacing for automotive, SolidWorks is probably not the best tool for that. The only reason why I'm doing it in SolidWorks, because I've been working with SolidWorks for the past 12 years or something, and then I just never migrated over to any other software. But for surfacing and automotive design, is basically you have two options, which is always used in most car manufacturer companies. Is either CATIA or Siemens NX. So yeah, CATIA is very harder to learn, and the workflow is not as fluid as in SolidWorks. And the same thing applies to Siemens NX. The workflow is not as fluid. So the reason why I like and I love SolidWorks is because once you learn it, the workflow gets so fluidity and then easy to work with. But it's not the best for surfacing, obviously. Okay, so next thing what we want to do to create that bracket is to jump to 3D sketch, and I want to convert these edges. So 3D sketch and convert the edges. Make sure you choose the inside edge there and press OK. And you already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a center line, and I'm just gonna click on that one of these points in the converted lines, and we want to be on the Y and Z, which we are, and just drop it there. And then let's go to spacebar. So let's create that extrude direction. So I want the extruded direction to be a bit of it in an angle, something like this one, not really straight down. So let's create a little bit of angle on that, and let's have a look at from the side. And it looks good from the side. Maybe we can create a little bit of angle on the side this way. Let's have a look at from this side, and let's have a look at from this side as well. Okay, so it's kind of going forwards and a little bit inwards, right? Because the air coming in from here, and it needs to pass through here nice and fluidly. Okay, so to extrude this converted sketches, press OK, exit the sketch, and click somewhere in the nowhere so it doesn't register. And then let's go to surfaces, and let's go at extruded surface, and let's select that purple sketch, and let's select the direction, which is our center line. Okay, and then now let's define how deep we want that bracket to be. Hopefully it won't freeze on me now. No, it's not. Okay, good. So the bracket should be about that thick, not thicker than, not longer than that. And then press OK. Okay, so we have that bracket very nicely created, the bracket there, which we can add our vent triangles here, and at the bottom of the vents we can add our mesh. Of course, it's not going to be a real mesh, it's going to be a optical, what do you call, not optical, visual. Yeah, visual. I can't, the word is not coming out of my mouth of what that word is, but as soon as I remember it, I will say it, right? Okay, so let's mirror the surface over. Mirror, and we're going to mirror it over the front plane, and the bodies to mirror is going to be this bracket here. But let's, I'm not going to mirror it over yet because we're going to create some surfaces on that bracket. And then if I mirror the bracket over, then it will create double surfaces. So let's create as much as stuff as we can put on this bracket. And once we've done that, we can mirror it over. Okay, so we're going to leave this tutorial here, and then I'm going to see you back very shortly in the next tutorial, continuing detailing this rear part here. And for now, let's save a model, and then okay, and then I'll see you back in tutorial 32. All right, see you. Thank you very much.